Okay, quick disclaimer before we get started. The Blockmates podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. The information and opinions expressed on the podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Blockmates or its affiliates. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research and consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Blockmates and its affiliates are not liable for any losses or damages incurred as a result of the reliance on the information or opinions expressed on this podcast. Right. Welcome back. Mike looks like he's just had a heart attack. He's been doing some water aerobics with like all the nanas. And now he's like sweating.
Yeah.
Dan's probably been running.
Get sweaty easily these days.
Dan's done like 10,000 mile jog this morning just for breakfast and
because apparently according to like Discord, I eat rocks for a living. That's what I do now. That is my nutrition content.
Eating those Blackrock NFTs that keep going up.
Oh, Blackrock NFTs and Etherrock NFTs, which who knows where they are now, but they were $1 million at one point. Mental.
The Blackrock ones I seen them at 0.05 or something like that, and now they're at 0.3. just another 6x missed.
Yeah, I saw them at I think 0.16. So I also faded them. I don't like NFTs. Like I can't buy NFTs. They don't agree with me.
If you want a collection to go down, I will accept payment to buy some, and that will literally mark the top of it. So I offer top making services for all NFT collections. But enough of talking nonsense like we usually do. But Dan, what's happening with these banks? Because I know you're gonna cover it in the newsletter. I think we can get into that first, and then we want to do a bit of Optimism versus Arbitrum stuff because I think the pendulum is swinging in one favor, which we'll get into later. But I'd love to kind of pick your brain on what the hell's happening with all these banks and Bitcoin and shit.
Mate, this is one of the biggest conspiracies to hit crypto since last week. It is ridiculous. Like the level of detail that they have gone into from last week with all of this drama and FUD and fluff that's been going around. BlackRock's ETF, Invesco's ETF, Wisdom Tree's ETF. I think there was I think one came out today. Valkyrie were filing for an ETF. Nan, bless her, she doesn't know what an ETF is, but she popped down the old retirement home today. She said, "Oh, darlings, let's go make an ETF." So my Nan can officially say that she is going to be launching a spot Bitcoin ETF. And then you throw into the likes of like EDX markets, and it's just like, well, where did you guys come from? But apparently that's been brewing since September. And then old 3AC just turns into 3AC Ventures, which, according to Alex from Nansen, is just a fork. And it's just like, what's going on here? What's going? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like literally Bitcoin just pumped straight to 30K. It's absolutely brilliant. But now on a more of a serious note, when you kind of like look back and you rewind time, you can see all of this happen in the charts. And like Hasaka has brought this up in like a couple of recent tweets and some of his old tweets that he's retweeted. It's like, yeah, dude, look on a chart here, there. That's where BlackRock's buying. They're also going to be buying OTC from A16Z there and there. And it's like, so they actually did that. Okay. So if you really want some conspiracy, it's like, it's always how it goes, right? The best way to like make profit is to FUD the shit out of everything, buy the dippity dip when everyone's feeling like down and out, and then get your friends, the SEC, like in the old SEC tea room, to continue the FUD to get those players out of the way to then introduce your players. So Binance and Coinbase, gone to one side. EDX Markets has slot in nicely, and all EDX Markets essentially is going to be a marketplace for institutes to come together to like buy and trade assets. It's not an exchange like Binance or FTX or anything. It's just like a dirty little middleman that's going to help facilitate something. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. Like whales are going to whale. I don't know why everyone's getting so excited, because in my mind, this is probably one of the most dangerous things or dangerous scenarios to actually happen to crypto. Crypto is about Satoshi and his idea of decentralization, right? Well, we've just given all of our Bitcoin bags to TradFi. BlackRock could buy every single freaking Bitcoin out there today on exchanges, and they wouldn't even bat an eyelid. So now you've got the biggest player in TradFi controlling all of our bags, right? You know, they're in control. You create an ETF, who's going to buy an ETF? General population, the normies, right? Normies ain't coming to use Uniswap. You know, I can't dump my bags on these new normies that are coming in. It's going to have to be you guys and Jedi, right? You know, short term, this is a good thing. So it's like, yeah, TradFi normies. Woo. It's like, no, dude, yeah, TradFi's coming in. They're stealing our shit like they normally do. And normies are going to go to them because it's safe, you know. I'd rather go through interactive brokers than I would like some like dodgy scam online. Fucking that's like Binance or Coinbase or KuCoin, or if I'm feeling really dirty, MEXC, you know, obviously not financial advice. You'll probably get and lose your money quick on there. But yeah, I generally don't think it's as good as people are making out.
Yeah, I think when the initial pump, like excitement wears off and the hangover sets in a little bit and everyone's like, oh shit, the edge on Bitcoin and potentially ETH, not in the not too distant future, it's just going to be completely eroded away for anyone who's cut their teeth on trading or intraday trading on that, because this erectile dysfunction exchange is going to be the main battleground for that shit now.
You are right though. There's not enough people on CT to buy them bags quick enough before BlackRock, really, is there? So we are a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place with it.
BlackRock.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they were an ex derivative trader for around 25-30 years, and he was saying what it feels like is total regulatory capture from the big guys that have just wanted all of the crypto native incumbents to just move out the way. We're going to place in people who we know we can kind of lean on if we need a favor, and then jobs are good. And as you say, Dan, yeah, it's like if BlackRock's completely controlling the market now with regards to that, because I put that at a quite high chance of getting past. Maybe it has like one revision or whatever, but then all the others that have filed for it as well, let's just open the floodgates there, which is initially good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, we'll probably start seeing really, really good Bitcoin prices, but you're going to have to go into the depths of hell to find some edge, and you're going to have to be on chain. If you think you're going to be able to piss about on Binance or anything like that and really to find an edge, then no way.
Could we go as far as saying that Gary Gensler has won?
Well, I've got a question, right? And do you think it's worse, this situation, say BlackRock have like total freedom to buy all the Bitcoin they need to? Do you think it's worse than what we've seen with like the predatory sort of venture capitalists that we've seen, like 3AC and Almeida, etc.?
I think I'd rather. Well, it's gonna the EDX exchange is probably gonna be the destination of choice of where people are looking at for kind of price action. People naturally go to Binance now. I think that will change over time as they start to list more and more and more. They'll have to just continue to list, obviously, but I don't really know, because I think it's like two different things. If they want to come in and buy Bitcoin and have markets for Bitcoin, potentially ETH, and then whoever else, I can imagine Charlie Hoskinson trying to book loads of meetings with BlackRock employees now to try and shove Cardano down their throat. But whereas Sam and all those in a lot of the kind of venture capital crowd that have pivoted to AI, I think that was more set your token dynamics and distribution up in a way that's extremely predatory, so that we can get initial liquidity at launch, recuperate our initial investment by day one effectively, and then do it that way. So I think the market gets extremely efficient with regards to Bitcoin and ETH as they get listed. But with regards to the more emergent products, I still think you're probably going to get a repivot from people from AI back to crypto because they'll realize that you have to wait fucking 10 years to get a return on your money, or you get acquired, or you go public, which is a complete moonshot, and you don't get infinite idiots to sell into like you do in crypto. So they'll be back.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'll be on the same with that. I think it's probably a little bit more dangerous that the world's most powerful man in finance has control over crypto rather than three idiots that are chilling in Bali, or two idiots that are chilling in Bali with like snapbacks on or whatever and eating oysters. Because let's be honest, I think the story of 3AC makes for better Twitter content than Larry Fink, Blackrock, and oh shit, this is gonna potentially like take away decentralization or move decentralization, as you know, into the hands of centralization. And the thing is, with this whole ETF thing that they're doing, like technically it's not an ETF, it's a trust. I think it's GBTC. That's an ETF, and what BlackRock are filing for is going to be slightly different. So they work in similar but slightly different ways. Just like the GLD ETF is actually the iShares Gold Trust or something, if memory serves right. So it'd be interesting to see how like that actually goes through.
They have to have the underlying on the books, though, don't they? Because it has to be a redemption function at the end of every month for whenever that is settled. Whereas the whole GBTC trade was betting on that getting approved as a spot ETF, which they've been. I think they've actually sued the SEC for that because they've just rejected them multiple times. So that was the whole trade. If you could buy GBTC at a discount, once it gets redeemed for the underlying NAV, then obviously you'd be in profit. But there was rumors like that GBTC was going to get bought out by
Fidelity.
Sorry. Yeah, but I don't know how true that is because I think that account who posted that's been telling porcupines in the past. So so I made it up. Is there anything else on that one? I want to get into some optimism and Arbitrum stuff, but for me overall, I think it's a weird one because depending on which side of like the trifecta between philosophy, financial motivation, and probably just thinking it's cool tech, like this definitely pushes us more towards it being like a financial instrument and away from like the ideologic stance that a lot of Bitcoin maxis will take. So it's like, do you want to have your cake and eat it too with this kind of thing? Do you want the institutions to come in and buy it? Like, I don't really know what their standpoint will be. And if not,
that's interesting.
Like,
because the problem is you've got to find the liquidity somewhere. Whilst obviously in time gone by, with obviously the situation where you had so much money pumped into the market through like COVID and everything like that, there's not going to be another stance in our lifetime, I wouldn't think, or in many a year, that's going to be the same situation. So in terms of like liquidity coming back to the market, how else is that going to occur? Because as well as innovations diversify, it all becomes even more fragmented across all this new innovation. It's just rotations, as we've seen over the past few months. It's the same people buying into certain tokens, then selling on, then rotating the bags. It's not been new liquidity to the market or anything like that. So I don't see any other. Unfortunately, I don't see any other way to sort of, with everything that's gone on over the past year or so, 2 years, where it's been hell and high water with the goings on with SBF, etc. I don't know how else you're going to bring liquidity to the market.
Yeah, because you think as a consequence, if these ETFs get approved, they'll almost certainly be buying or have bought up until now because they know after the news it's gonna increase. Bitcoin increases, alts rise, news headlines come out, no more liquidity starts to then reflow back into the market. But you think there is a an ever increasing difficulty of getting liquidity into the market if you're a retail participant, because on and off ramps aren't what they used to be even 12 months ago. Like, these providers are completely getting shut down.
So what they're actually technically doing is they're taking liquidity out of the crypto market and putting it back in the TradFi market, because like we were saying earlier, like you're gonna buy an ETF, but the ETF is bought on Interactive Brokers or Saxo or whatever. You know, it's not bought on Uniswap, it's not bought on Coinbase, it's not bought on it's on chain or like crypto native platforms. So it's very interesting to see how they're gonna probably suck more money out of the ecosystem.
So you're telling me they're not buying my wrap BTC on Arbitrum?
No, but what they might actually be doing is buying your Bitcoin cash bags. Yeah, who remembers that? Nobody. But it's somewhere in the top 300, right? Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, which apparently is a security, but obviously not, because this is something that EDX Markets is going to be allowing for, which is going to be heavily regulated by all of the regulators, because the regulator said EDX Markets is okay. So in theory, your crypto portfolio has gone from 3 assets, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and your favorite shitcoin, to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and your favorite shitcoin. That's your crypto portfolio there. Why don't I take my own advice?
Right. Should we get on to Optimism versus Arbitrum? Me and Mike touched upon it for like 2 minutes on Good Morning TGN this morning, but we both just saying the pendulum feels like it's just swinging in favor of Optimism at the minute. Like, you've got Bedrock upgrade, Binance L2, WorldCoin, Coinbase's L2 coming soon, A16Z. They're apparently creating a chain called Maggie on there. So
is base built on OP as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like
base is built on Ethereum, but using the OP stack.
Yeah.
Was that same?
Well, it's an L2 using the OP stack. So they could have used Arbitrum's Orbit, I think it's called. But it looks like the OP team have just completely out BD'd them. And from what I've kind of heard on the grapevine, it's like Arbitrum are definitely trying to cater towards developers, but they're also trying to market like off-chain labs. Whereas it looks like Optimism are trying to promote their actual chain. And I wouldn't bet against A16ZZ, wherever you're based in the world, that makes sense. But I wouldn't bet against them being, they're like extremely large investors in Optimism. They're extremely large investors in Coinbase. So it's just, connecting the right people to help the overall portfolio go up. So
an actual BD that's building, because we know BD where it's just smokes and mirrors, shall we say?
Like, could you guys follow saying that when like a certain someone decided to move on from said chain versus Optimism, that was the topping signal for that chain?
Could have been,
yeah. Ooh. The thing is, they made mistakes, didn't they? ARB have made mistakes. The whole handling of the token, the governance vote, stuff like that. People lose confidence quick in CT, which is absolute echo chamber in terms of once people lose that confidence, then it doesn't take them long to look elsewhere. Like Arbitrum had everything really in terms of Optimum made mistakes, didn't they, when they launched their token? For a while, they made mistakes how they launched that, and Arbitrum had every possibility and chance to capitalize on that in their launch, which in the first instance, in terms of how they did in certain respects. But soon as obviously the governance vote was a governance vote that wasn't a governance vote, it was just
we're gonna do it
anyway. Yeah, which makes absolutely no sense. Then in terms of the ARB token, it just lost all power. Because even when you got your airdrop, you could give your vote to someone else, couldn't you, in terms of whatever protocol you wanted and delegate it. But then that becomes pointless. And at that point, you're just looking at it and going, yes, it's a really good chain and everything else, but there's not enough liquidity in the market to keep that afloat when there's better opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah, it was that AIP one that fucked it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was just a hint that like, is anyone actually steering the ship in the right direction? And I know it's supposed to be a DAO, but you have core contributors that are supposed to be like shit hot, that are getting paid by the DAO to make these decisions properly and implement. And it just felt like even their response, we were taking the piss out of it on here, weren't we? So it's like their response was just very, what would be the word? It looked like a solicitor or a lawyer had written it, like who just wouldn't be able to tell you what MetaMask was. You know, it's like felt like the response to that, and it was a bit tone deaf, to be honest.
Well, this is
to get the first one so wrong while you had so many eyes on it. It just felt a bit like a bit weird.
I think as well, you've got like there's a lot of intelligent people on CT and in a lot of respects, so you can't treat people like they don't know what they're talking about from someone who definitely doesn't know what they're talking about when you're putting out your comms and everything like that. And we've seen it many times, haven't we, where comms have been horrendous, and it's like, who are you getting to write these, and how do you think that's actually acceptable in this space? Like people latch on, and again, it's an echo chamber. So once someone picks any like scrutiny around your comms and everything else, then it soon spreads, and it's just like total, what's the word? It's just like disheartening, really, sometimes with stuff like that. When what it could be or what it could have been, and then it's all shattered in that instant. And like with trust and everything like that in the space, it's really obviously if you've got trust and then you take the piss out of that, how hard is it to get back? And you've seen protocols fail off the back of that many a time. Once you get something like small wrong, and they don't come back from it.
And like all the fucking cocktease that they had leading up to like the airdrop, and now it was airdrops next week, and like just for however long that took, and then for them to just drop the ball like that was a bit of a pain in the ass. But and I was looking on, I'll bring it up actually, I've got it on here, but the unlocks per day are quite hefty. So DeFi Llama's got like a token unlocks page. So unlocks per day sort. So like Arbitrum's like 2.7 million unlocks per day. And then the next event, oh god. So there's a linear unlock of 2.76 million per day, but the next event will be in 9 months, which will be $774 million worth of ARB, or 673 million ARB tokens. So imagine like ARB's $5. That's like a
2x, isn't it?
Fucking
dilution. It's nearly a 2x dilution, isn't it? I'm not totally
nearly.
Well, it won't be. It depends what current price.
It'd be $3 billion. If it was $5 when this happened, it'd probably be like a $2 billion unlock or something like that.
Jesus Christ. Somebody is laughing to the bank, and like they're going to be wanting to put a lot of effort in for the next 9 months to come out with a paycheck like that.
And the let me see if token unlocks breaks it down a little bit better, because this is a bit convoluted. Really like this.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, why are you doing that? I've just had like some very exclusive news just hit me on Twitter, so I just wanted to share it. And it's our friends over at Vertex Protocol. They've just, I'll read it here. We're pleased to announce Vertex has received a strategic investment from Wintermute Ventures, the venture arm of Wintermute, a prominent algorithmic liquidity provider. This move includes Wintermute T providing liquidity to Vertex. Jesus Christ. Damn, these boys are getting real serious. And I just thought it was 3 idiots from Australia. Damn.
I knew Darius would pull it off. he was saying, look, there's some big market makers coming, and I was like, yeah, we'll see. But there is. So, and the thing is with Vertex, right? The way they set it up, so traditional trading algos on like you could plug into like name tier one exchange. The way that Vertex is actually set up is that particular type of API can be easily integrated into Vertex to trade perps or spot. So there's not a lot of heavy lifting if they want to actually bring on like big market makers. Case in point, Wintermute have just looked like they're going to be putting some serious volume through it. But there's not a lot of heavy lifting on the algo management side there and the integration. So whereas a lot of other perps dexes will struggle to actually implement that just because of their model, because Vertex is it's center limit order book, but it also has an AMM to kind of fill in any gaps. So I'd expect to start seeing what happened with DYDX in the early days when all the market makers jumped over there because they had really easy algo integration as well. So yeah, buzzing for them. They're such a good team, them guys. They're really, really helpful. And
they can definitely do a side event with us, Token 2049 after that news, 100%.
Yeah, too right. They've just got an investment from Wintermute that can pay for the full thing.
Yeah, we're skinned.
So this Arbitrum unlock. So yeah, this breaks it down. Oh fuck, it's a lot more than I thought. So is that real? Right. So unlock distribution of Arbitrum is 11.12% of the supply, which at current prices is 1.2 billion. And the way that is split is around 6.7% of the 11% is towards team, future team, and advisors, and the remaining 4.38% to make up the 11% is for investors. So that's not going to like incentives. It's not going to back protocols. It's going for investors and it's going for advisors. So what's this on? This is on March 2024. So around that March, February time, I guarantee there is a load of kind of bullish catalysts in the work that come around because they want the best price they can get for that unlock. It's going to be a big one. So that's a fat unlock.
I bet you're going to see like a load of people start applying for jobs because, you know, if it's future team, like apparently rumors have it up. We're future team right here. We're going to be like ecosystem shit posting. Future team, let's go.
Yeah, just look at that there. That's
Jesus Christ, monster, mate! It is never becoming like a top 10 coin ever. Jesus.
Might buy market cap. I don't think it will buy price.
No, yeah, and that's the issue, isn't it? We were talking about this morning in terms of like the importance of like having the handle on any token that you buy, knowing what it looks like over time in terms of any dilution. Because how many coins have just been obliterated by that over time? We know a few of them. Just scrolling down that list, I can see one or two.
Hey, just scrolling through your wallet, you can see 4 or 5.
Yeah, to be fair, you're not wrong there either. I've got many of them.
You got some protocols that have got similar sort of daily emissions, like unlocks per day as L1s and L2s, which is not going to name any names. If you want to see tokenomics report of Tapioca versus some other lending and borrow markets, you can head to the newsletter, and if you refer one friend, we'll send you a full PDF breakdown of that, which is, in my opinion, good alpha. And I only say that because it took me about 3 days to write.
Yeah,
there's a few coffee stains on it as well from where it was like left on your desk for so long.
What else have I got on this list? So let's have a look at these stats from June then. Do you ever see any ZKs ever taken off? Or do you think people are just happy on optimistic rollups?
Give me a reason to go there. That's the thing, isn't it?
Who's built anything on there? That's the problem.
Polygon.
Everyone's just bridging over there and bridging back, aren't they?
Yeah, we saw that the other day, didn't we, when we were looking at
there you
the
go,
bridge
bridges.
inflows and outflows?
How many people have bridged there and straight back? 651,000 people who go like boom, boom.
I wonder which one thinks like has potentially got an airdrop coming up.
That's hilarious, isn't it?
It's pathetic, isn't it? People not got anything better to do. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but people want free. All you see is threaders saying about free money. That's everyone wants a free airdrop, don't they?
Mate, I bet they don't even do it. I bet they just make a thread for thread's sake. They're not sat there until like 4 a.m. like just crossing the bridge like that, watching the money go down as they're just bridging, like as they're just like rinsing their wallet of just fees. Man, I bet they're just there, just writing these like really annoying clickbaity threads that I always click on but never read, apart from the first 2 pages.
No, but that what's that? TVB, total value bridge. Jesus.
It's a lot.
So that's quite telling in and of itself, isn't it? So if this is Arbitrum total value bridged in ETH, so 2.57 million ETH bridged. Optimism's got 550,000 ETH bridge. And ZK Sync's 296. But if you look at how many, so if there was a ratio between how many bridges and how much is being bridged, like the ZK Sync bridges, they've got a shitload of people bridging, but not a lot of capital flowing in. So that's 1,000% just people sibling because they think the airdrop's coming up. So brace yourselves for Starknet airdrops because that'll probably come next. But yeah,
that's your best ratio, really.
Yeah, it's all so tiring.
Actually, I'll be very interested to get like both your takes on Uniswap V4.
I think it's pretty cool, but I also don't think they should be calling it open sourced and then putting a business license on it, whilst a lot of that, what they're calling proprietary IP, has already been created by the likes of Trader Joe, CrocSwap, which is now called Ambient, and a couple of other dexes, which feels a bit off to me. Feels a bit like regulatory capture-y, in my opinion. Did you see someone? So when they posted the GitHub link, someone posted apparently fixed the bug to be resolved, and all they did is like comment where it said open source and like scribbled out and put like business license. It said this is a bug that needs fixing.
Oh, that's brilliant. What do you think, Mike?
To be honest, mine's short and sweet because I literally haven't read into it yet. I've been that bloody busy with everything else. I haven't covered it yet, so I have no opinion at this current point in time till I get round to it. To be honest,
I think it's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, she really uses that a lot. It gives you a TLDR.
I do read it, to be fair.
But I think it's been an interesting play. Like I think they've timed it very well. You've got all these other like little dApps and projects trying to do similar things as what they're doing, and like now the big daddies can literally just like stomp them out again, as we're seeing in like the whole TradFi ETFs and such. But I think, you know, for all of us, like Uniswap was our first bridge from like Binance into the world of DeFi, and if they're making the bridge simpler and sexier, I think they're going to capture a large part of the market. So I think it's actually quite a bullish thing. And if there's a lot of teams like building these hooks, which I think is a bit of a silly name, but that's another topic for another day. I think if the teams are building hooks to make things more customizable, it's good because it means the smaller teams can just build on top of something instead of like trying to make their own new tech and we have like a bajillion of the same thing. But also just like gives them a bit of a platform.
I think it's very, very, very smart from them to basically say we're going to switch from an application to like an infrastructure product where what's going to happen there? It's going to dissuade people from building additional DEX to reduce the fragmentation of liquidity. If you want to build something, we've got all the tooling for you to then go and build it. If you're an application that wants a specific fee structure, they want a specific like surge pricing, which was Trader Joe who implemented that first. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know if they want any of these additional hooks, people are going to get really inventive with them, but it's a way for additional protocols, basically every protocol that uses Uniswap already, to build an additional layer on top of Uni, increase that moat, and then have any bells and whistles that they actually want to incorporate in their token dynamic and their liquidity pool. So it's a very, very good way to dissuade opposition from building the DEX, because I don't think anyone's going to outcompete them apart from like Ambient, maybe, Trader Joe, maybe, but they've just got that first mover advantage, and they've got that. It's in everybody's muscle memory to go to Uniswap if they want to trade. Obviously, use aggregators and shit like that, but I really don't like the business license thing. I think it's a bit shitty.
I agree.
Yeah, it's probably just like I said, it's just to call on that market, isn't it? That's the reason they've done it. It's so because they did it obviously with V3, didn't they? In terms of that business license there, so that it wasn't a free for all. So it's more like a business strategy decision than anything else. But,
yeah, 100%. Anything else? I've got like a minute before I need to jump on the next one.
No, I think to be honest, I was just happy to turn up today.
I'm just so happy to be alive.
Yeah, I've got to give me a break from pulling my hair out elsewhere. I'm going to go back to that now.
Are you going to go back to your granny's swimming pool and do some like more aqua aerobics? It's very relaxing and refreshing seeing the buoyancy aids floating around. I love it.
What I will say is, if anyone is quite handy as a developer that would know how to implement token gating on our new website, message Mike, because
yes, please, and help me.
Banging our heads against the wall. We'll figure it out. We just need someone who might be able to build that for us.
Yeah, just some technical input.
We're all idiots to be able to figure it out.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to try and learn to code, which I do not want to do.
All right, that's it for this week. We'll see you next time.